So, you guys want to own a game store, huh? This is what it is. We have cards that need to be sorted right there. We have dogs that need attention all day long. Huh, Bruce?
Get him, Brucey. Get him.
We have cards that need to be sorted in here. And we have cards that need to be sorted over here.
I'm sorting stuff.
Oh, it just never ends. Never ends with the amount of stuff. And we are way far behind just because it became such a headache to try to keep up with all the set releases that have come out from Wizards of the Coast. I'm back here sorting some Crimson Vow. This is all the Crimson Vow that has accumulated over the past few. I don't even think we ever really sorted it from the commons and uncommons from the pre-release. We did it for probably pre-release and release, but this is just all the things that accumulated from drafts and collections that have been traded in. We actually don't open up any packs for inventory anymore. Like, the only thing that we keep for inventory is Zach and I play in the pre-release, and sometimes we have a bunch of our deadbeat children that play in the pre-release too that we don't charge. We just have them play for this store, and we accumulate quite a bit of cards this way. So all those stores that do mass box openings, I feel ya, because this is just a lot of cards to be sorted just from the accumulation of stuff that comes into our store. So, don't really have much of a topic today. Just wanted to touch base again and thank everyone for their continued views on the Gone Rogue Games channel. And I'm going to do my best to start reviving the other channels. I know a lot of you have been wanting product reviews, which we're going to be doing. We got these suckers in right now. So I've got a few other products that are coming in. So these are the Hyper Phoenixes that just came in from KMC. Now KMC's kind of gone off the, we haven't heard much from KMC. It used to be like a really popular company to buy card sleeves from, but it's been hard to get in the past 4 years. It's been really difficult to get things like KMCs. So we did get a stocking of these Hyper Phoenixes because one of my patrons wanted some. So I thought, well, we'll try them out, see how well they are. So I'm going to get some other sleeves in to compare them with. And I noticed that Game Genic has a new line of outer sleeves coming in. And so once we start to stockpile like some products review, I'll definitely give these a review and let everyone know what I think. If you are a patron, I think the price of these are like $8 for the Hyper Phoenixes. And I heard that Legion is no longer a, where's Legion sleeves? So, did Legion go out of business? We don't know. We can't really get anything from Legion anymore. They were a pretty cool company for quite some time. They used to go to all the Grand Prix and have a booth there. I just wonder if they just had a hard time competing with, I think they were trying to be a company here in the States, and maybe they just got outcompeted by, all the companies that were doing business in China. But that's kind of the name of the game these days, is find the cheapest way possible to get the products in the hand of the consumer, or otherwise you just get outcompeted by the million of other things that come out. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of different vendors now for card sleeves, and the space is definitely quite competitive. So, what else we got going? We have a Flesh and Blood set that is coming out soon. There will be, I think, Blitz decks in Brilliant Lights, Brilliant Stars, Brilliant something. I can't remember the set of Flesh and Blood. I apologize to all you Flesh and Blood fans. I'm not the biggest Flesh and Blood player. I would play if we had a play group here, but we just have no one that plays. We have a couple casuals, and man, playing Flesh and Blood with what, am I not showing anything? Like, oh, look at the floor. The Flesh and Blood, like playing its casuals is like, I don't know, kind of super miserable because my decks just stomp them. So, and like the decision making is typically not the best. So it's like, okay, I play a Bolton deck too, and I typically ignore what my opponents are doing and then just go for some big swings. And probably people aren't even understanding what I'm talking about with the good old Flesh and Blood. But yeah, Flesh and Blood coming out with another set. We keep it all in stock here, at least of all the unlimited versions up to where, now we're not missing any sets here, I think. We got Dusk, Outsiders, History Pack, Dynasty, Uprising, Everfest, Tales, Monarch, Crucible, Arcane Wrath. I don't think there's anything else, right? Zach wouldn't know.
I don't know.
We are completely out of Lorcana. So we have no packs left. We've got a couple starters that we're going to use for our events. Yeah, please stop calling Zach if you're from a 350-mile radius. We will not have Lorcana for you. We are trying to sell to our locals first and then to our patrons second. So that is what's going on with that. So unfortunately, for those of you that want to scalp us, we are a little too educated for it, and I'm not going to sell you a booster box for you to go and put it on eBay. So that's just the name of the game there. Show my cool brews, Zach.
Your cold brew?
Look at my brews.
What did you do?
That. How'd I even get that?
I don't know.
I have it on this side too. Is someone beating me?
Did you carry a rock?
I think it might be from carrying a rock, but that's like
Jeez.
pretty brutal for it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, when we run out of content of what to do, you just kind of get me rambling. So speaking of which, man, I think I got the ball rolling with all the other content creators that are complaining about the Las Vegas the drops. So I don't know, I guess it's the ultimate form of flattery, I guess, when the topics we discuss get picked up by the bigger guys. But anywho, yeah, I'm hoping we do get the ball rolling, because Wizard of the Coast absolutely needs to stop this shenanigans. Like, I was thinking about it today on what they could do. So they're actually, what is it, Zach? They're trying to have us do a spooky Halloween draft again?
Yes. From freaking...
from Innistrad.
From Innistrad.
They did one last year.
A while ago
and last year they had a pre-release deal. So you could buy pre-release packs for cheaper. And I was actually quite upset with it. So this is what happened here. And again, I don't want to sound like too bit of a negative person, because I don't want to run people off and rub people the wrong way. But we actually had a lot of people come in for Halloween draft last year, and I gave it out for free. So we did a free, full sealed. You got to pick a sealed. I think we did a 4 and 2 and then actually. What we call a sealed draft. I think it was 3 and 3 or something. I can't remember with that. But you get 3 packs, so you open, and then you draft the other 3, and then you have like a stronger draft pool, and it's kind of fun. What do you think about? I love sealed drafts.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, because you
awesome.
get a bigger pool. I think that sometimes draft, you end up with just less playables, and you have to have a lot of filler. But with 6 packs, and then you get like the best of both worlds. You get to draft packs towards an archetype, and you also get to have a bigger pool, like a regular pre-release. So your decks are a little stronger and whatnot. And it's kind of fun opening up packs and like, okay, I've got these cards in white and blue, but then all of a sudden you get past a bunch of black cards right off the bat. You're like, okay, better switch to these bombs. And maybe the 3 packs we opened up weren't like, it's best not to get married to those and wait to see what gets drafted and then just fill it in with the other stuff we opened in the other packs. Anyway, not making sense here, but anyway, go back to the story. It's like I gave them out for free. And I was so mad because a bunch of people opened them up and dropped and didn't even play with them. I'm like, really? I give an event out for free for you guys, and you don't have the courtesy to even play. And they started playing Commander. Like, that was the whole thing. They just started like, well, okay, we're going to play Commander. So I don't know if I'm too incentivized this year to give out a bunch of freebies to people that don't even want to do it for fun. But we would love to have more drafters here in the area. So if you are in the area of Richfield, Utah, Zach and I are drafters. We love to draft. We love sealed. We love that sort of thing. I'm not a big fan of standard or modern or pioneer anymore, especially in our area when the play levels are just super spread out from ultra casual to people that think they're going to make a pro tour. So it's hard for us to actually cultivate a good play group with the extremes on both ends. But anyway, Wizards is talking about that this year, so I'm wondering if there will be some deals for Crimson Valley and Midnight Hunt, or maybe even going back to some other sets like Shadows of Innistrad, or I doubt they have anything like that still in stock. But I was thinking about the sad news of these dumb little bundles for Las Vegas, and realized that they've done it before. They've given us promos to give out if people spend like $200 or more. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they go through distribution, said WPN only, WPN only, here is a bunch of, do a draft event, and people that sign up for it get a Mox Opal promo. And that way, it gets the stores are able to clean out the inventory they have of leftover draft packs from Standard. They obviously overprinted. I think it's still a mistake of them that they're going to try to support Standard for 3 years instead of trying to liquidate Standard products at this point. Why don't they just revive Standard? Why don't they do Grand Prix? And it doesn't even have to be Grand Prix. They should do like an entire regionals, nationals in Standard, utilizing draft as the format. So stores that sign up for it have to do drafts. So there'll be a limited line to this nationals, regionals, whatever they want to call it, Grand Prix circuit, Pro Tour circuit, whatever they want to call it. And also have a constructed way. That would get the damn cards to start selling again. That would give demand for anything but collector's boosters, which is all anyone buys anymore, because Wizards has trained them, because of shrinkflation, to spend all of their money in collector's boosters because they get more bang for their buck, which is just kind of an illusion, because actually for Wizards of the Coast, it costs them less to print collector's boosters than it does for it. Like a collector booster box is cheaper for them to print than a draft booster box, and they charge way more. So it's this shrinkflation way of now training everyone that they feel like they're getting a better value out of collector's boosters. So now what ends up happening is that stores are just flooded with like draft boosters, because drafting is basically just for drafting. That's the incentivize of drafting. They have the least EV out of any of the products, and it's just a nightmare for stores when we used to get a lot of like draft and things like the pre-release kits. Those suckers used to actually sell really well. Like people would still come and pick them up, and they looked incredibly good in the days of no collector's boosters, because there was a guaranteed foil in them. And when foils actually had a bit of value, which they don't now, because collector boosters have just completely crushed the value of the foils. Now, foils oftentimes are cheaper than the normal versions of cards, because there's only a particular type of person that actually wants foils. So now we're just in this mess with a printed draft boosters, like that people would still have the demand they had them years ago, because stores used to draft and used to be able to, fire these type of events. And I was talking to another store, and they had the exact same complaint I did with pre-releases, is that people will come in and now that the collector boosters come out the exact same time and we're allowed to sell them on pre-release weekend, that people will come in and buy collector's boosters and then say, well, I don't have any money now to play in the pre-release because I spent it all on the commander set or the set booster, the collector's booster. And what used to be is pre-release used to be only this. They did a couple of them where you could get draft boosters, but this was the pre-release, was pre-release kits. You had to buy pre-release kits. And I remember back in the day, back in the boomer time, like Return to Ravnica, is stores would do a pre-release. So what we do is, it used to be called a midnight pre-release. So all stores around the country would do it at midnight, because that's when it was finally allowed to be opened. And people used to complain, like a lot of stores, like, I don't like doing them. And Wizards like listened to these people. There's nothing to stop them from doing it on Saturday morning. They could do, but the whole problem is they knew if they didn't do the midnight pre-releases, then their competitors would. And so all these stores felt like so obligated. But still, my best memories in Magic the Gathering were the midnight pre-releases. Drinking 7 energy drinks to try to stay up all night. And man, the sets used to be, they weren't solved by then because they didn't put on Arena first. Like now, they've been putting in an Arena on Wednesdays. Like you can start doing the pre-release on Wednesday on Arena. And so everyone's done like 7 drafts on Arena by the time they come to the local game store. But it used to be like the very first experience that people had with sets was this pre-release at midnight with a big celebration. The store that I used to go used to cook pancakes and waffles. So we would, because it's, breakfast time by the time that we're done with the 7-round pre-release, because that's how big this store was. And it was super fun on the midnight pre-release. It would have huge attendance for these play experience. And then on Saturday, they'd typically do a small pre-release, and then the rest of the day, Saturday and Sunday, would just be on-demand 8-pod pre-releases or drafting. They used to allow drafting, which now they don't on pre-release weekend. I think they do now. Now they just like let anything go now on, I don't know. I don't know what the rules at WPN are these days. But then they do either the on-demand pre-releases, where that was the only way to get the new product, because the draft boosters and everything else was was released on the release date. And so I'm hoping that if Wizards wants to give a competitive edge to stores, I think they should go back to that direction, where pre-release is for pre-release. Okay? Release should be for the collector's boosters, the commanders, and they called it like the launch party is what they used to call the release of a new set. So then they have the launch party where you could get your commanders, your collectors, and your sets. And then you'd have some other events going on. Like typically that would make a good commander event because it's the launch of the new set. And then I think that they should even give another week. So you should have the first week of the pre-release, the second week for the launch event, and the third week is when it should go to big box stores and non-WPN stores. And that I think would give stores a competitive edge. They can enforce it on places like TCG Player and eBay, that stores start, selling things on TCG Player or eBay, then, maybe we'll strike against their WPN account, and it gives some breathing room for people to experience the set in the form of drafting and in pre-release kits for the release event. And it also gives some breathing room or some competitive abilities to the stores to have these big box opening parties on the launch event. That's another thing we used to do too, because I remember correctly, that's how it was, is the boxes were like a week behind, and our store, I think that you were allowed to buy boxes on like Friday, so our store would do a Thursday midnight box opening and trading party. And same thing, I think they'd buy pizza, which was a stupid idea now that we think about it, with greasy hands, with everyone trying to trade cards. I remember when the Return to Ravnica, that was the big launch event that I went to with the box opening event, Epic Puzzles and Games in Salt Lake City, is everyone was trying to like trade for Shocklands like crazy. We were all trying to get our play sets, and there was just the whole dumpster was full of booster boxes. The store built a big old pyramid in the middle of their room when the launch event, and then as people came in, you got your booster boxes, and then the whole tables were just full of people opening the box, and it was just an awesome experience. And that should be like, that's what the buy a box promo should be for. It's like this big launch event where people can mingle and trade. And I guess I'm just reminiscing about the good old glory days of Magic the Gathering. Even Pokemon used to have kind of that sort of feel too. I was never really into Pokemon, but they still do that sort of release thing, like the stores that do the pre-release get a week early and whatnot. But all in all, like the biggest problem why Wizards of the Coast isn't even trying to enforce their own rules is they themselves are breaking it. So there are many times where Walmarts have Magic the Gathering product out weeks before. There's a whole meme on Pokemon that you can go in Targets and find it like 2, 3, 4 weeks. I think there was a YouTuber that found Obsidian Flames like 2 weeks early, before the set was even fully spoiled. He was finding, I know it was spoiled in like the Japanese because it released there earlier, but before it was really out, he found it in Target that had already been put on the shelves. So it's really up to these companies that they need to plug those holes and really respect their own rules at this point, if they're going to get back to this sort of healthy nature where their strategic partners like game stores can actually have a competitive edge if they still want to do this mass selling online, or let the market figure out what the price of things are through Amazon and things. Then that's the only route they can go, is allow stores to somehow have just a little bit of an edge over non WPN stores or over the big box stores by having a little bit early and having that community, that sense of community where people can come and trade. And I am just really reminiscing about that time where there was just so much energy with every set release. Everyone was so excited. Like every set, even like Board of the Gods was exciting. Like some of these crummy sets, Dragon's Maze, the things that ended up not being that interesting. They were still, the energy was just night and day. Whereas people have already moved on from Wildsville Drain, you look at Enchanted Tales and you have 50 cent rest in pieces, because everyone's just no one cares. It's already boring at this point. What's coming out next? Doctor Who or Caverns of Ixalan in a month? Or it's just too much. Like they don't really care to drum up the hype. Every set used to have a pro tour that was associated with it. There used to be so many content creators. Goldfish used to be so full of articles, or TC Player, Cool Stuff Inc. They used to be so full of like pre-release primers and standard, like what cards are going to shake up standard and what. And now it's just such a snooze fest because of just how quickly product comes out, and just everyone is just like, when Modern Horizons 3 comes out, it's just going to warp the entire format. So who cares about playing Modern until that comes out? So anyway, I guess didn't start as a rant, but now we got a rant. What is this one got reprinted, right?
Yes.
Is it? Oh, this is like a quarter card now.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
In Enchanted Tales, it's like $4 before.
No,
Wow.
Did that get reprinted?
Return to Wildspeak? I think so.
It?
No, it's Garrick's Uprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Garrick's. This did get reprinted in Commander Masters, didn't it?
Yeah, one of them.
And so you can already see too. It was also in a Commander deck.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. It was Garrick's Uprising was one that got reprinted. Enchanted Tales. I'm gonna have a video out on the Rogue Market channel about just like Enchanted Tales is exactly what you shouldn't be doing if you're a Wizard of the Coast, because they destroyed the value of any sort of like the thing too, like I mentioned in my other video too, is how about all those people that bought that Impact Trimmer Secret Lair, and now it's like, oh, we'll just chuck it in. I mean, I know it's different art because they had like the Bravest Warrior art for a secret lair. But you know, then they print it as a uncommon, which is basically a common with Enchanted Tales, because the uncommons show up as much as the, you know, common version. I think it actually might be a common in Enchanted Tales. We'll have to look at it.
Sad.
And it's just, we've opened up not even that much Enchanted, or just in my previous kit, I had like three hatching, what's it called? Hatching egg or hatching field? Hatching. It's the blue one with the sacrifice, you draw 3 cards. I got 3 of them in my pre-release kit. So, I mean, the Enchanted Tales are like ultra common. And so they just absolutely destroyed the value of these things. And it's just, I don't know. This company just really needs to get its act together. Speaking of act together, sort your cards. You need a good card sorting box. People love these BCW boxes. I'm looking for any other suggestions you have that I stock in my store. I'm always looking for cool products, and if you have a favorite sleeve or something, let me know in the comment section. If you want me to have a review products, we were looking back at our Gone Rogue Games channel, and one of our most viewed videos is just me actually reviewing some Gamegenic sleeves, which is crazy. So we're looking for things to improve here. Let us know in the comment section what you'd like to see. This has been Kevin with Gone Rogue Games, and wherever the dogs are, his buttons out. Whoa, you're not staring at a ball? Huh?
You go potty?
Oh, he's gonna look at it now. And there he goes. Now he's gonna sit there and stare at it for hours. If you're ever in the area, come throw the ball to Buttons. He's a sad dog.